Explain DevOps in 5 minutes? Oh, come on. For real?
Yes, Will.
Fine. Fine. Here we go. All right, so it all starts with the planning process. And this is where the development team gets together and they figure out what types of features and bug fixes that they're going to roll out in their next sprint. Now, this is an opportunity for you to get involved with that and learn what kinds of things are going to be coming your way that you need to be involved with, and also influence their decisions or their path and kind of help them work with the infrastructure that you've built or steer them towards something that's going to work better for them in case they're not on that path. And so one key thing to point out here is the developers or software engineering team is your customer as a DevOps engineer. So this is your opportunity to work with your customer before they go down a bad path. Now, once that planning session's done, they're going to go start writing the code. You may or may not be involved a whole lot with this. One of the places you may get involved with it is whenever they're writing code, you can help them better understand the infrastructure so that they know what services are available and how to best talk with those services. So they're going to do that. And then once they're done, they'll merge that code into the repository. And this is where we'll kick off the first of our automation processes, because we're going to take their code and we're going to build it depending on what language they're using. You know, it may be transpiling it, it may be actually compiling it, or it might be creating a Docker image from that code. Either way, we're going to go through that process using our CI/CD pipeline. Once we've built it, we're going to run some tests on it. Now, the development team usually writes the test. You may have some input in what tests get written, but we need to run those tests. And the testing is a way for us to try and minimize introducing problems out into production. You know, it doesn't guarantee that, but we want to get as close to a guarantee as we can that we're, one, not introducing new bugs, and two, not breaking things that used to work. So once those tests pass, we're going to do the release process. And depending again on what type of application you're working on, this may be like a non-step. You know, the code may just live in the GitHub repo or the Git repository or wherever it lives. But it may be the process of taking your compiled code or the Docker image that you've built and putting it into a registry or a repository where it's accessible by your production servers for the deployment process, which is the thing that we do next, because deployment is like the end game of this whole thing. Because deployment's when we actually put the code into production, and it's not until we do that that our business actually realizes the value from all the time, effort, and hard work that you and the software engineering team have put into this product up to this point. Once it's deployed, we are going to operate it. And operate it may involve something like you start getting calls from your customers that they're all pissed off that the site's running slow or their application is running slow, right? So you need to figure out why that is, and then possibly build auto scaling, you know, to increase the number of servers available during peak periods and decrease the number of servers during off-peak periods. Either way, that's all operational type metrics. Another operational thing that you do is include like a feedback loop from production back to your ops team, letting you know about key events that happened in production, such as a deployment. Back one step on the deployment thing, this may or may not get automated depending on your environment. The goal is to always automate it when possible. There's some environments where you possibly need to do a few steps before you're ready to do that, but ideally you want to deploy automatically as part of your automation process. But if you're doing that, it might be a good idea to include in your operational steps some type of notification so that your ops team knows that a deployment has happened. Now, all of those lead to the final step because you need to have monitoring, especially around operational issues, auto scaling, troubleshooting. Like, you don't know there's a problem if you don't have monitoring in place to tell you that there's a problem. So some of the things you might build monitoring for are memory utilization, CPU utilization, disk space, API endpoint response time, how quickly that endpoint is responding. And a big part of that as well is logs. Shit, we're out of time. So a big part of that is logs so that your developers don't need access to production and they can see what's going on without having to access production. And once that's in place, you go right back to the beginning to the planning stage and go through the whole thing again. So I'm over 5 minutes, but that's DevOps in 5-ish minutes. Do me a favor. If you liked this video or if you didn't like it, click the appropriate thumbs up or thumbs down below and leave me a comment. Let me know what you liked or didn't like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.